Kirstie Alley not returning to portray Lieutenant Saavik in Star Trek VI, the undiscovered country led to a different character becoming a traitor, according to director Nicholas Meyer. Released in 1991 to celebrate Star Trek's 25th anniversary, Star Trek VI was directed by Meyer from a story conceived by Leonard Nimoy. Star Trek VI was a timely parable about the fall of the Soviet Union, with a conspiracy attempting to prevent peace talks between the Klingon Empire and the United Federation of Planets. Nicholas Meyer previously directed Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, which introduced Kirstie Alley as Lieutenant Saavik, the Vulcan protege of Captain Spock, Leonard Nimoy. Saavik became popular with Star Trek fans, but Alley did not return for Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. Instead, director Leonard Nimoy recast Saavik with Robin Curtis, who also appeared briefly in Nimoy's follow-up, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Star Trek VI's tale of political intrigue and the assassination of Klingon High Chancellor Gorkon, David Warner, required a traitor from the ranks of Starfleet. Initially, Nicholas Meyer and his co-writer, Denny Martin Flynn, intended for Lieutenant Saavik to betray the Federation and side with the conspirators. In the final product, Star Trek VI had two notable Starfleet traitors after Kirstie Alley didn't come back for Meyer's sequel. Kirstie Alley not returning as Saavik led to Admiral Cartwright becoming a traitor in Star Trek VI. Star Trek VI couldn't afford Kirstie Alley. According to Nicholas Meyer's autobiography, The View from the Bridge, Memories of Star Trek and a Life in Hollywood, without Kirstie Alley reprising Saavik, he decided that Admiral Cartwright, Brock Peters, would be one of Starfleet's traitors. Meyer wanted someone we had come to trust to be one of the conspirators against galactic peace, and Cartwright had previously appeared in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Meyers explains, in Star Trek IV, Admiral Cartwright was one of the flag officers at Starfleet headquarters who warned Admiral James T. Kirk, William Shatner, not to come to Earth when the Whale probe was inadvertently attacking the planet. Cartwright had a minor role, but he made an impression among Star Trek fans. Cartwright becoming a traitor in Star Trek VI was, indeed, shocking that as Nicholas Meyer tells it, Admiral Cartwright replaced Lieutenant Saavik as a traitor who fans already knew was important to him, but Kirstie Alley not reprising Saavik led to the creation of a new Vulcan female character. Substituting for Saavik in Star Trek VI was Lieutenant Valais, Kim Cattrall, who became Spock's second protege. Valais and Cartwright together gave Star Trek VI a Vulcan traitor close to Spock aboard the USS Enterprise, and a high-ranking Starfleet flag officer who also commits treason. Why Robin Curtis didn't return as Saavik in Star Trek VI? Valais was created instead of Robin Curtis reprising Saavik. Saavik Robin Curtis. Despite Robin Curtis portraying Lieutenant Saavik in two prior Star Trek movies, it seems that Nicholas Meyer did not seriously consider bringing Curtis back as Spock's protege. Meyer cast Kirstie Alley in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and the director preferred her as Saavik. Conversely, Leonard Nimoy cast Curtis to replace Alley as Saavik in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, and together, they adjusted the character to be more overtly Vulcan. In 1991, however, Kirstie Alley played Rebecca Howe on Cheers, and she was the highest-paid actress on television. Star Trek VI's modest budget couldn't meet Alley's price. Without Alley, Nicholas Meyer decided it was better to create an all-new Vulcan character instead of bringing back Robin Curtis. Meanwhile, Kim Cattrall auditioned for Saavik in Star Trek II, and Meyer liked and remembered her. Meyer was glad to get the chance to cast Cattrall as Lieutenant Valais in Star Trek VI. Brock Peters had problems with his dialogue in Star Trek VI. Peters played a nicer character in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Admiral Cartwright. Playing a Starfleet traitor with racist beliefs toward the Klingons didn't come easily to Brock Peters, according to Nicholas Meyer. At the start of Star Trek VI, Admiral Cartwright protests the very idea of peace between the Federation and the Klingons. Cartwright called Klingons the alien trash of the galaxy, and advocated bringing them to their knees, so that the Federation could dictate terms. Meyer writes of how difficult it was for Peters to say Cartwright's incendiary dialogue. Thankfully, the despicable views of Admiral Cartwright did not become Brock Peters' lasting legacy in Star Trek. Peters returned in a new role as Joseph Sisko, the father of Captain Benjamin Sisko, Avery Brooks, on Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Joseph was a loving father to Ben and grandfather to Jake Sisko, Cirroc Lofton. A gourmet Creole chef, Joseph's wisdom and common sense often spoke truth to power and offered a humanist perspective when his son, Captain Sisko, was conflicted by his Starfleet duties. Star Trek VI would have been heart-wrenching if Kirstie Alley had reprised Lieutenant Saavik and revealed herself as a traitor. However, Star Trek VI ultimately benefited from the compromise of Spock's protege, Lieutenant Valais, sabotaging peace aboard the Starship Enterprise, with Admiral Cartwright representing how far up the chain of command fear of the Klingons had poisoned Starfleet. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country may be a richer movie for its dual Starfleet traitors, but Kirstie Alley as a treasonous Lieutenant Saavik is an eternally intriguing what-if scenario.